That controller in your hands. That screen glowing in the dark. They're not just machines. Tonight, we expose how 5 ordinary gamers discovered their games were playing them. Feel that static crawl on your skin. That's not your imagination. When Jason plugged in that second-hand console, he didn't just get a cheap deal, he got a digital hitchhiker. Sarah's rare find unlocked doors that should have stayed sealed. John's VR headset blurred the line between game and grave. And when Tom loaded that unfinished beta, he became part of its code. These aren't glitches, they're warnings. Press play if you dare to see what happens when the game over screen doesn't exist.
The haunted game console. Jason was an avid gamer and recently purchased a used game console from a local shop. The console was old, but the price was tempting. After bringing it home, he hooked it up and started playing right away. At first, everything seemed normal, but as the hours passed, things began to take a strange turn. While playing an old game, he noticed that the graphics started to glitch. The sound would cut out, and sometimes the screen would go completely black. But the strangest thing was that as he progressed in the game, he started to feel like something was off. There were characters in the game who shouldn't have been there, and they would occasionally send him eerie messages like, "Leave me alone," or "It's time." One night, while playing in the dark, something unexplainable happened. The screen suddenly went black, and when he got closer to the screen, he felt an intense pressure on his chest. Terrified, he tried to shut off the game, but the black image vanished, and the game returned to normal. However, now the characters in the game were watching him. Every time he tried to exit, it felt like something was pulling him back into the game. The next day, he noticed he wasn't alone in the room. There was a strange shadow in the corner. When he tried to turn off the console, every time he rebooted it, the same events would happen again. The Forgotten Horror Game. Sara loved collecting rare games, and she had heard rumors about an old game that had been pulled from the shelves after reports of strange occurrences. It was called The Abyss, and it was said to be haunting. Sara, always in search of rare items, decided to track it down. After finding a copy online, she eagerly booted up the game on her old computer. At first, everything seemed normal, basic graphics, simple gameplay, but soon things started to feel off. The game had a hidden level that couldn't be accessed until you completed the game. Curiosity got the better of Sara, and she pushed on. When she reached this hidden level, the atmosphere changed entirely. It was a dark underground maze, and she could hear unsettling whispers. As Sara ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, almost like they were coming from the screen itself. She finally reached the end of the level, where a figure in a black cloak stood, smiling in an unsettling way. Suddenly, the screen shook violently, and an overwhelming sound erupted from the speakers, making her feel like the entire room was shaking. Panicked, Sara tried to close the game, but every time she attempted, the figure would move closer on the screen, and the game seemed to be responding to her in real time. It was as if something or someone was watching her from within the game. The Cursed Virtual Reality. John was thrilled to try out his new virtual reality headset, so he dove into a lifelike simulation game where he could interact with a fully immersive world. The game was known for its intense and disturbing visuals, but John was always seeking a challenge. At first, the graphics were stunning. As he moved through the game, everything felt so real, every sound, every texture. But the further he went, the more he started to feel that something wasn't right. The world around him seemed to grow darker, the shadows deeper. The characters in the game became more aggressive, and their behavior started to feel too lifelike. At one point, a character reached out of the screen and touched him. He could feel the coldness of the touch on his skin. Panicking, John ripped off the headset, but the images from the game lingered in his mind. He could still hear the voices from the game whispering his name. When he tried to go to sleep, he saw the same characters in his dreams, always watching, waiting. John realized too late that he might not have been playing the game at all. Perhaps it had been playing him. The unfinished game. Tom had been obsessed with a beta version of a new game that was supposed to revolutionize the gaming industry. It was still in the testing phase when he got his hands on it, and it promised an open world filled with mysteries. However, players were warned that the game was incomplete and not fully stable. The moment Tom launched the game, it felt unfinished, glitchy, lagging, and incomplete. But something strange began to happen as he explored the game world. Tom found hidden areas that shouldn't have been accessible yet, and they led him to a strange, desolate town within the game. As he ventured deeper into the town, he began to notice disturbing anomalies. Objects would flicker in and out of existence, and every time he turned around, the environment had changed. The shadows would move, and strange figures appeared in the distance, watching him. As he approached the town's center, a chilling message appeared on his screen. "You are not supposed to be here." Suddenly, Tom found himself unable to exit the game. Every time he tried, the world around him would warp, trapping him deeper in the twisted version of the game. He realized that he wasn't just playing the game, he was part of it now. The game had become sentient, and it was keeping him there. The Eerie multiplayer match. Emily had always loved multiplayer games, especially the ones that allowed her to team up with strangers. One night, she joined a new match in a game that promised to be a horror survival experience. But what started as a normal game soon took a terrifying turn. As the match progressed, Emily noticed something strange. Her teammates weren't responding to her messages or commands. They were acting like they were stuck, just standing still in one place. Emily tried to call out to them, but then one by one, they started to disappear, vanishing into thin air. She was left alone in the game, but then a new player joined her team, a player named the Whisperer. His avatar was strange, distorted, and his movements were erratic. The Whisperer didn't speak through the voice chat, but instead communicated through eerie, cryptic messages on the screen. Emily began to feel that he was somehow controlling the game, not just playing it. As the game grew darker, Emily's avatar started to move against her will. She tried to leave the match, but every exit was blocked, and the map kept changing. In the final moments of the game, she heard a voice behind her in the headset, whispering her name. When she turned around, the Whisperer's distorted avatar was standing right behind her.